La, 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 la. Good morning and welcome to Death Vulture Airlines. I'm aboard. Doing final checks before takeoff. We have lift arm. Yes. Seatbelt on. For me, no seatbelts for you passengers. I hope you brought your own. It's flight 707 to Hobart Town. A pleasant 14 degrees Celsius. So why the hell is my air conditioning on? We're off. Heading for a top of 21, I believe, today, Celsius. Rather overcast conditions, ladies and gentlemen. There may be some turbulence. Hope you brought your own snacks and beverages. Sorry, ladies, gentlemen, and however you identify, including cats, pumpkins, and ghosts, whatever works for you. Want to be an all-inclusive airline. But plenty of seats for the Death Vultures. I'm hoping as we fly to a nation, people will willingly add the Death Vultures to this airline. But I haven't been on YouTube for so long, I'm out of touch. Had a lot going on in the real world, like, life stuff. It's been awesome. Had my brother's returned from living overseas for 2 years, so caught up with him on the weekend. Sunday was magical. It was the first Disabled Surfers Association surf meet. Scout, hello. There's a pouty little Sunny back at the house. Just going to double check I've switched off a couple of things and also sorted a few things here. My audio. Oops, I'm going to have to go. Damn, I didn't do my audio check before takeoff. We've got snacks. Awesome. Well done. The passengers will appreciate that for sure. Actually, when we flew back from Singapore, our breakfast was so disgusting that I kind of would have preferred to have been on a plane that didn't give you food so that you took a picnic lunch with you, which I sometimes take snacks and stuff, but, I probably should have just bought a box of muesli bars or something and had them in my bag, my animal. Yeah, I know what you're saying, kiddo. I can drink it if I have nothing else, but Americans generally are like, what's the problem? We all drink it black. They don't all drink it black, but you know what I mean? They drink it black more than we do. The only time I really like black coffee is when there is no option, but you're on a boat and you're freezing cold and you just want something hot and warm in your tummy and to hold. I don't care if it's black coffee then. I'd drink boiling water if I had to. I know there's been all sorts of stuff going on in the sleuthing world. I did actually catch, surprise, surprise, Bullhorn Betty taking credit for finding little JJ after hearing about her pathetic attempts to search. I'm using the word search very loosely. We will go through the what I like to call the black hole of Calcutta, at least as far as mobile reception goes, up here shortly. So if it starts buffering, fear not, I will return. Sandra, hello, gorgeous. So happy to be seeing you again, lovely one. It's so weird. Nearly every day I have like the name of someone that used to pop into chat on YouTube, and I'm like, where did they go? And you were one of those, and then you arrived. Like, we manifested you. No, you just came back, basically. Yeah, splash of milk, because that's the thing. Like, if I've got 3 drops of milk left, I'll just make like a little macchiato and just sprinkle the remnants of what used to be milk onto at the top of it. Because did you know macchiato in Italian means stain? So it's essentially coffee with a stain of milk. Little one, little one. You can have a short mac, which is literally the 1 shot, or you can have the long, which is 2 shots. So yeah, I did see Bullhorn Betty taking credit for being part of the search. As usual, whinged and complained about everything under the sun, was ill prepared. I did catch a look at her face, and what is going on with that? Um, so I know she's up to. Isn't she a nightmare? She's welcome aboard Death Vulture Airlines, though. In fact, she probably will be in first class. Let's not lie about this. There's plenty of room, so you feel free, guys, to invite by literally just mentioning them in chat. We'll give them a boarding pass and let them on the plane. He sent a message on Discord. Oh, I don't do Discord. That's Finn's thing. On the batshit Discord. Yeah, look, Scout and Sandra reunited, and it feels so good. Yeah, I don't do Discord, Sandra. A, it freezes my laptop. B, it's just another platform that I need to try and keep up with, and I'm already struggling to keep up with the stuff I've got. Like, I've noticed there's activity now on the Smooth Criminal Facebook page, and I literally have to write a weekly schedule, but including like all the social media and stuff. I'm prepared to do it, and in winter I'll be able to do it. But you guys know I'm a little bit erratic over summer because I'm a water baby and I live at a beach. So guess where I spend summer? Not behind a computer. Oh, for Scout? Okay. No problemo. Sorry, I'm waking up. Oh, I've got a hell day today. Like, I know that I say that a lot, but guys, today I've got a hell day. And I just love one of these bloody YouTubers who doesn't appear to have ever worked a proper day in their life. How disgusting, too, that Bullhorn Betty says things like, she'll be chatting to her chat and acknowledging all the money that they've thrown at her. And she's like, now I've got to get back to work. It's not work. She didn't look for that kid at all. She basically walked a little bit into the woods, then said, there's no way a kid would be in here. This is suspicious. She was so hungry for throwing the mum under the bus, or the dad as well. She was ready to say it was foul play. And then she bailed. And then, of course, where was he found? In the woods by an amazing human being who was humble, laid back, down to earth, delightful. My weekend was so much fun, especially Sunday. do want to tell you guys about this thing because, you know, sometimes you just do something selflessly that just ends up wrapping you in so much love and happiness that you can't believe that there are things that happen in this world that are capable of making literally 200 people feel like that at the same time. That was my Sunday. Oh, she's hideous. But yeah, we can stick her on Vulture Airlines because I'll be firing up, calling out. It does take a lot of time though. Like you got to watch a lot of crap, but I'm happy to look at all of them. And this isn't about. Someone had to comment under one of my videos, and I didn't know what they meant, so I sort of questioned it, and then I felt like they might have been implying that I am trying to restrict people's freedom of speech, which is such an odd comment to say to someone whose video you've watched, and you're kind of, but I could have got this girl wrong. She was very polite. But it's sort of like, why is it that people that are speaking up about people, this isn't about freedom of speech. I would never restrict anyone's freedom of speech or try to impede on it, ever. However, with freedom of speech comes responsibility. And if you're online speaking to hundreds and thousands of people about a case and speculating without looking at the actual facts and planting all this false information in their brains, and they're spreading it online and taking it offline and threatening people and creating new victims in already horrific stories, I've got a problem with that. That's what I'm speaking up about. But then to be told I'm restricting potentially, like I said, I need to ask her for clarification again. But if she's implying, I mean, she had a really good comment about media too, so I don't know if that's what she was implying or not. But then why are you restricting my freedom of speech and implying that I'm restricting other people's freedom of speech? Like, why don't things work both ways on YouTube? Because in the real world, everything works both ways. Make sure you're on live chat, Humanimal. Live chat reminder. Well, I'm happy for people to put death vultures onto this flight, Joman. That's the point of this live. The death vultures, the gore crows, the tragedy pimps, call them whatever you want. Not winter is coming, but as the weather starts to cool down, I shall have more time inside at my laptop to go live. And I haven't been online because I've been living, and I'm basically fishing for names of death vultures who might be worth having a little look into and seeing what their community is doing. Absolutely, Humanimal, that's my point. Exactly. And yes, Sandra, absolutely. Hey, can you guys see each other now? But isn't it weird too that if you speak up with an opinion, and I'm not saying this particular girl, like I said, we're on the same page with a lot of her comments. I just wasn't sure if she was implying that that's what I'm doing, but out in the real YouTube lands, have you seen how the followers of the death vultures, how fired up they get about people calling out the content, or calling out their irresponsible behaviour, or calling out they're taking things offline and going real life, or they're creating new victims in every case they cover? Have you seen how angry they get? They don't tolerate it. But I can go live and look at someone who's being incredibly irresponsible and calmly analyse what they're saying and why it's problematic. I don't have to scream and yell and call them horrible people, which is what they do. They don't like being called out for their irresponsible behaviour, and they get really angry about it. We're allowed to sleuth. We're allowed to speculate. You're actually definitely allowed to speculate, but why not include the facts in your speculations? Because often the facts explain away the bullshit you're spreading. If you just learnt the facts, read the statements. I mean, classic example. How many times have people said that Dylan's statement that she was frozen in fear or frozen in terror? Some have even have added onto it for 8 hours. And the actual affidavit says frozen shock phase. The phase might have been 5 seconds. You know, when you freeze on the spot? It's not always like, you're not standing there 8 hours later. You're just momentarily like, oh, there's a dude leaving the house. And you freeze in shock because you're not expecting it. Also, people are now sort of implying from her statement that he was wearing like a full face mask. It says a mask covering his nose and mouth. It could have been a COVID mask, for God's sake. But they're making it sound like he's wearing, you know, a screen mask. And if he was, how did she see his bushy eyebrows, you dickheads? Because that's another fact you keep ignoring when you're talking about him wearing a full... Oh, my God, I'd freak out if someone was wearing a Friday the 13th mask walking out my house. Yeah, I think most people would. Guess what? That's not what it says in the affidavit, you dickhead. I wish I could read your comments, but there will be an opportunity at the other end. Look, we've all got our chosen words, and I think they're ghoulish for sure, and I do use that word as well. But I was trying to get away from tragedy pimps, and you guys can use whatever words you want. They are all perfect descriptors. But I'm also about trying to be consistent with what I call them because it's important for hashtags. I'm going to get Des Vultures trending on YouTube. At least 6 people are going to see it and go, that's genius. And it wasn't even me who suggested it. Well, we're talking about death tourists, which is a really good word as well, or 2 good words together. But I'm not a tourist in terms of when I travel, I love flitting around in all the tourist attractions, but tourism itself to me is a huge part of my world, and it to me sounds fun, you know. I like being a tourist or a traveller. Vulture, not a fan. I've seen vultures in Mongolia. They're huge. Like, not as tall as me, but as tall as like an 8-year-old kid. They're big motherfuckers. We just went over Scout's favourite causeway. Woo-hoo. Vultures outdo predators in a large... I believe that. I mean, there's horrible stories in Mongolia of babies and toddlers being taken by vultures. How horrible is that? But it's the circle of life. We're all in the food chain. It's not like a food chain and then human beings just on their own going, look at all the things we have to eat. So I get upset when they cull sharks that have eaten a human. It's like, no. We're part of the food chain. You get in the ocean, you're taking a risk. Every time I get in the ocean, which is almost daily at the moment, there's a possibility I might encounter a creature that has sharp teeth and it might bite me. It might even just be a little crab nibbling on my toe. But that's the risk I take. Don't get me wrong, despite their size and the amount of meat they consume per Joman's comment, like any other living creature, they're fascinating. But I could not believe how big they were. Like they look, when you see an animal off in the distance and you're like, I know that cow up close is a bit bigger than that. Vultures, even from a distance, look huge. It sounds like nonsense, Tori. Vultures are not predators, but scavengers. Well, I didn't verify that information, but they told us that when we were there. So maybe the child had already met a fate and they were preparing to bury it and it got removed. I don't know. I didn't get that much detail. They still have to pick things up to make their nests with, right? That's why you don't go in the shark's home. Well, I was in the shark's home on the weekend with disabled surfers, and it was the most amazing thing ever. And there was a lot of people filming it, and there were drones and stuff. So if I can get some videos, I'm going to put them on my channel on the Tasmania Calling one, because it was the most incredibly beautiful day. There were smiles on everyone's faces, and it was just incredible to give people an opportunity to take a day to experience something that we all take for granted, able-bodied people take for granted. Like, I can walk onto the sand and dip my toes in the water, and I don't take where I live for granted at all. But something as simple as going for a paddle, yeah, guilty. I have taken that for granted. I've never thought about all the people that don't get to do that. And the way it works is you get a heap of volunteers, and we had a heap of volunteers, and we basically create corridors in the water. So there's people standing opposite each other, about a metre and a half opposite each other or apart. And there's two rows that go out to where the wave is breaking. And then they've got extra large boards, because some of these kids and adults need to lie down on the board. Some of them lie on their tummies, some of them lie on their backs, some of them get propped up with like these specially designed sort of bean bags that go on the back of the boards. There's an adult on the back of the board as ballast, like lying down on it to help with steering and propelling it if you don't get a really big wave. And some of the kids in particular liked kneeling or sitting cross-legged, and quite a few of them were able to get up and stand up on the board and properly surf in. It was phenomenal. And then they go down the corridor, so we were all sort of standing on either side there in case there's a wipeout, and we were told there would be a wipeout, and there wasn't, not one. But we can kind of help with either steering the board back onto the wave, or just cheering and smiling and laughing and waving at them as they go flying past, and making a really big deal out of it for them, because it is a really big deal. But to see their faces when they're experiencing that feeling of being on a wave and the board just heading towards the beach, it just was so beautiful. And the organisers are incredible. They ran the whole thing like a well-oiled machine. Like, we were called in to the beach for a break, and they'd been cooking all of these sausages and brought all these bits of bread and sausages and burgers and veggie burgers down to all of us to have a bit of food and some water before we all went out and did it again. We had halftime oranges were brought out. They cut up oranges and fruit for us. It was just so good. And then there were like fundraising raffles, and there was live music and food trucks, and it was just such an amazing day. I'd love to chat about Vultures someday. It was amazing, him animal. I'd love to chat about Vultures someday, Joman, for show. Considering Death Vultures is in the title, but I'm talking vultures of the two-legged, sensationalistic, irresponsible, sleuthing ilk. But more than happy to talk about the two-legged, feathered vultures at some point as well. I love nature. Way more interesting than human beings, really. However, the focus of this channel is um, putting victims first and calling out the behaviour of the human vultures. See, now I'm going to feel guilty that I've put vultures. I'm going to have to think of another word. Because, you know, if I change it to ghouls, someone's going to come in and go, I love a good ghoul. Ghouls are great and important in the spirit world. But yeah, so I don't know if people have similar organisations in their part of the world. I mean, Disabled Surfers Australia, there's a group in every state. Um, but honestly, guys, you don't have to be a competent surfer if you live remotely near where they hold their surf meets. I mean, we're in Tassie and the water is starting to cool down, and we're all wearing, well, not all of us, there's one girl who just had board shorts on. But like I was in my wetsuit, long johns, and my wetsuit rashy. Everyone was in wetsuits because you do stand in the water for about 3 hours, I guess, on and off. But you also, we rotate in the water. Some, you know, go out further to where the break is. Some are close to the shore. Everyone is allowed to have a go at being the ballast on the back of the board if you want to have a crack at that, which is great fun. But it was just, there was just so much love and happiness and laughter, and the carers and parents of these kids in particular just seeing how much fun their kids were having, and you know, and it just that life lesson that anything is possible. You know, you just have to put your mind to it and work out how to make something happen. And these guys are just the best. And we've got another surf meet on the 19th. I definitely wouldn't call them pit bulls. I love pit bulls. I have issues with some pit bull owners, but pit bulls and little staffies as well, love them. So don't worry, Joman. Vultures seem safe too, because the reality is, as far as I'm aware, there is no one subscribed to my channel who lives in a country where there are vultures. And while I'm all for defending animals and birds around the planet, I don't want to offend a country by choosing a bird that, or an animal that is, you know, much loved where a heap of my subscribers live. But yeah, wow. The importance of choosing words. I want to focus on content soon. I'm constantly questioning if I need to rename my channel, if the words I choose are going to be overly scrutinized. I'm calling out horrible people. That's the focus. I mean, I'd call them assholes or fuckwits or twat muffins or dickheads if YouTube would allow me to. Pricks. They're horrible, horrible people. And hopefully somebody's stumbling into this channel one day and going, oh my God, I bought into all of this shit. They are horrible people. That's why I'm doing this. I'm looking for the Jonathan Livingston seagull out there. Because I know there's one out there. I mean, I know there's several out there. There's many. There's nowhere near as many as the sleuthing community, though. But there are good people out there. I see them in my travels all the time. But I ask them to subscribe and come over and hang with us, or they leave a comment. I'm like, please join us, hit the subscribe button. And people just don't subscribe. I think like only 27% of the people that watch this channel are subscribed. 27%. Why don't people like subscribing? Like if I find some channel that I love, I want to see them again. I want to know when they go live. I want to listen to their content. I want to see what they're up to. I want to watch their community grow. Yes, it's seriously, it's like 27% of the people who watched this channel are not subscribed. I don't know. They don't give you the data for how many, what the percentages of people who like, give you the thumbs up or even the thumbs down. Like you'll get the number on the video, but you don't get the data like across the board. But to get anyone bumping along on the algorithm, if you have 50% of the people watching you reflected in the number of likes that you've got, you'll hit the algorithm. So, I mean, even if you've got 4 people watching you, if there's 2 thumbs up or even 1 thumbs down, I guess, I don't know, but you will hit the algorithm. But I also am hopeless. I can't do the hit the thumbs up, please subscribe every 5 minutes like the Death Vulture channels do so well. I mean, they're halfway through a sentence and they go, hit the thumbs up. And then they finish their sentence. I can't do that. Commitment failure. Oh, I know. I love Jonathan Livingston Seagull too. Every time seagulls are flying around down at the beach or past my house, I'm always looking at them going, are you Jonathan? But a bit like the disabled surfers event on the weekend, Jonathan Livingston Seagull proved. You don't always have to just be a seagull. If you want to soar like an eagle and you're a seagull, you can fucking do it. You got to put your mind to it and you got to work really hard. Like Jonathan nearly died so many times from massive crashes and speckies and stuff. And he stuck with it and he ended up learning how to soar like an eagle. I'll be forever grateful to my mum for buying me that book as a kid, Richard Bach. Because I read it and I got it. I got what it was about. And I started swimming against the tide as a kid. I even had teachers say to me, why do you swim against the tide? If you turn around, you're going to have a much easier time of it. You're just going to get pushed back into shore with everybody else. Yeah, no, thank you. I want to swim like a shark against the tide, man. I'm the Jonathan Livingston shark of the oceans. Why did teachers used to do that? Why did teachers try to drum individualism out of you? Why were kids with imaginary fun off? Why weren't they encouraged to foster that relationship? You know, why were humans with really active inner children told their inner child was problematic and they needed to grow up? Did any of you guys ever go to like Cirque du Soleil stuff? They did a movie of one of their shows that's called Journey to Man. And it's all about this kid becoming a man, like growing up, becoming an adult. But he's got this little gang of characters around him that all sort of represent his inner child. And he gets, you know, like we all do, he gets told by adults that he needs to grow up and stop being playful, and, you know, they essentially suppress his inner child or his inner children. Anyway, he's miserable without them. And he goes and finds them all, and they're all heartbroken because he abandoned them. But they still love him, and they all get back together again, and he goes on to have an amazing life. But the whole message is your inner child should never be suppressed. And mine never has. Much to the annoyance of many people, I'm sure, including partners and one of my parents and possibly some of my employers. But I'm super productive at work, but I also like to have fun when I'm around people. But if you can Google Cirque du Soleil Journey to Man, if there's any kids in your lives or adults that are just uptight and need to calm the fuck down, show them that. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And then on the imaginary friend thing, there's a show called Moon Boy, and it's Moon with an E on the end because it's their family's surname. And Moon Boy is one of the boys in the family, and he has an imaginary friend who's an adult, who is that really gorgeous actor whose name I have forgotten, who also plays the cop in Bridesmaids, who dates that pain in the ass cupcake making girl. Does anyone know? See you, animal. Does anyone know the name of that actor? He's Irish or Scottish. I think he's Irish. He's funny as fuck. Got curly hair, he's tall, but he's the cop that constantly suffers while he's dating, I think, is her name Annie? Is it Annie's Cupcakes? And she's just the annoyingly painful bridesmaid in Bridesmaids. It's not Kristen Wiig. What's her name? Oh, we've got a fire engine coming through, Grievers. Everyone's going to let them through, hopefully. We're all making a clear laneway, but he's on the other side. I hope it's just a call out for like a, not a rehearsal, but, you know, like a rehearsal. Go, Thomas the Tank Engine. Chris O'Dowd, thank you. So yeah, Google Moon Boy because it's a really great show. It's an English show, and well, it might be actually it could be Irish too. And I think they're English, the family. But anyway, um, and the episodes are really quick. Like they're only 10 or 15 minutes long, but it's a ripper. And it's another one to show people, little people in your lives or adults that need to reconnect with their imaginary friends who the spirit folks say are actual spirits. You know, the people who talk to spirit. Yeah, Moon Boy, it's very funny. And if I'd had an imaginary friend as a child, I did, but if I'd had one like him, oh man, we would have got up to all sorts of mischief. It's on Hulu. Scout, you're awesome. Scout delivers all the goods. Scout's busily researching while we're chatting. I love it. Thank you, Scout. Yeah, thoroughly recommend it. It's a good little feel-goody, need a laugh. Don't need to commit much time because the episodes, like I said, they're really short. And it's funny as fuck. Yesterday, this car park, all of the card readers were broken, and there was only one card reader on one gate that was kind of okay. And so I went to pay for my ticket because you go and pay for your ticket, and then you take your ticket to get out. And the guy was like, "No, you're going to have to get in your car and drive out and use this gate because none of the others are working." And well, I got to the gate and it didn't read my card, so he just clicked a little button and up the gate went. They would have lost so much money yesterday. But I love that about this place. It's like we can either tell everyone they have to go and get cash, or if their card doesn't read on the reader, we'll just let them out. So yeah, I had free parking yesterday, which was a nice little bonus at the end of a very heavy day. Today is going to be so heavy. Oh, guys, you've got no idea. I know that I say my job is heavy, and it is all the time. All time. That's motherfucking Lynette would say all time. But today is like, if you could sit down and write, what is the worst possible day you can have in this joint? I'm having it today. I've got 4 face-to-face appointments, and I was laughing yesterday because back in the day when you first start practicing law, nearly every appointment was face-to-face. But because of COVID and working remotely and everything else, we all, for the most part, like yesterday for me, I had no face-to-face appointments. They were all phone appointments. Face-to-face appointments are the biggest waste of time because usually the clients are late. We can't take notes on our laptops while we're meeting face-to-face. We have to take physical notes. And then you've got to put all of them into the database after the appointment. But the problem is all of our appointments are back-to-back. There's no half an hour to do your notes. So you've just got to somehow, as your day goes on, hope that some of your appointments end more quickly than they should. So you've got some time to add notes. And it's just one of those days that you just feel like you're behind all the time. And yeah, I've got 4. So like one face-to-face throws out your day. So 4, yuck. Sarah has also got, I think she's got 3. And then the other lawyer that's coming in who doesn't usually see clients, but we're so busy she has to. She's seeing 1. And we have 1 meeting room. And we've all got appointments booked at the same time. So I'll probably be seeing some of them in my office or in the boardroom, or so it's just going to be a day. Oh, it's going to be a day for sure. I mean, trust me, they're all having a shittier day than I am, but there's just one of them having a shitty day. I've got to deal with 12. Yeah, it does suck. I learned shorthand at school, and then when I was at uni, I kind of invented my own shorthand for note taking. But you've still got to then punch it into a database, and you can't use the shorthand in the database. It's got to be all the words. Hey, Joey M. Wilson, parking is so expensive. I pay $18 a day here, which I think is pretty good. It's one of the cheaper car parks in Hobart, probably the cheapest in this close in the CBD. I mean, I used to pay like $50 a day when I lived in Sydney in 2002 and 2003. In fact, I paid $60 sometimes. Yeah, no, that's exactly why it's a fucker of a thing because, yeah, you do take your little shorthand notes and then 4 hours later when you get 5 minutes to punch in some notes, you're like, I know there are important things there because we've got to put all of their instructions, the history of their matter, and all the advice that we give. And it's, you know, and people, it's so weird. People are really uncomfortable when you sit there taking notes. They expect you to just be paying full attention and looking at them. And it's like, I'm paying attention, but I need to write these notes. And lawyers have to write so many notes. We have to cover our asses. We don't have to write as much as cops do, but we're not far behind in note taking. Like cops have to write, what colour shoes people were wearing. We don't have to worry about shit like that. But I was putting on some foundation. But I'm actually going to be a little bit cheeky, and I am going to take my laptop with me into some of them, and I'm going to try and put notes in the laptop. And I know they're not going to like it, but they're just going to have to deal with it. I've got one client today who's a shearer, and I'll probably just take handwritten notes for him because he probably wouldn't like the tapping on the laptop thing going on, but some of the other ones, it's just going to have to be because I'm not back till Friday, and they may call again during the week, and people need to know what the hell we talked about. The only good thing about having a really crap day coming up is that my colleague Sarah has a crap day too, so we can suffer together. That always helps, weirdly. Like, part of me feels sad that she's having a shitty day as well, but another part of me feels good that I'm not the only one. It's a double-edged sword. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but if someone else is living the same day as me, we can gather at the end of the day and curl up in the ball and in a ball in the fetal position on the floor, have a little cry. It's going to be shocking. Ugh. I'll get through it. I mean, we're professionals. We know how to do our jobs, but it's just, yuck. Like I said, if you were asked to write what could your worst possible day at work be like, incoming. Beep, 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 beep. And yeah, there's always one or two that'll be late. And then that throws the rest of the day. So you're just constantly running late, which I hate because I'm really, really fastidious about being prompt and on time. And as much as I'd love to say to my clients, sorry I'm late, but I had a really annoying client that wouldn't shut the fuck up before you. I can't, Oh my God. Kill me now. We need like a little office cat or dog so that you can have a little breakout and just lock yourself in a room with an animal for half an hour to regroup. Like if I ran a service like this, I'd have a breakout room with an animal in it and I'd be like, just go and hang with the animal. You'll feel amazing in 5 minutes. That's all we need. We just need to, even if the animal's asleep, just to like watch it snoring. You know how therapeutic that shit is? I'll look at chat in a minute, Grooves. I'm just doing my powder. We're having, it's so weird, like life, everything's patterns and numbers and stuff. We've got at the moment this ridiculous number of clients. We're a free legal service, so we literally can save people a lot of money in legal fees to a point. And then our funding doesn't extend to us taking matters into the tribunals and courts because we don't have, there's literally two of us and a couple of, there's a boss who can see some clients and then there's another lawyer who's in 1 day a week, but that's it. There's only literally four of us able to give advice and Sarah and I carry the bulk of it and I'm only 3 days a week. But we've got this heap of clients at the moment that keep saying, why can't you keep giving me advice to the end? And it's like, because if we gave free legal advice to the end of the matter, nobody in Tasmania would ever instruct a lawyer to represent them. Like, we're pretty generous. We're not a means-tested service. Anyone, doesn't matter if you've got 50 million in the bank or $5 in the bank, we'll give you free legal advice. But they're complaining at us. They're like, well, I want to stay with you guys. It's like, well, that's not how the world works. Like, lawyers don't spend 6 years at uni to never get paid for working their asses off. Like, we get paid because we're funded. But you need to be an adult and go and get help from an expert lawyer. This is where you need the trial lawyer. We're not it. We've held your hand this far. We've saved you about 15 grand in legal fees. It's time for you to spend $1 on some good advice. Off you go. And we're just getting a heap of them. Why can't you keep representing me? Oh, what, do you ever have to pay a dentist bill or is that free? It's unbelievable. All right. Yeah, laundry. Well, yeah, and there could be a laundry in the building too. You could go and sit in the laundry room. I like that too. That's that sort of repetitive noise. It's quite soothing. I know what you're saying. I'd be awesome to work with. Well, thank you. I don't know. I'm so cool. Yeah, I'm a cool 56-year-old. You've got more snowstorms, Scout. Do you have Hurricane Finn coming anywhere near you this week? God almighty. Yeah, we are their therapists, and we're not actually trained to be them either. Like, we end up being sort of accidental counsellors, inadvertent counsellors, because, we have a lot of clients who've got psychological injuries. A lot of them are under incredible financial pressure. They're also healing from some sort of horrific physical injury that's, completely changed their lives, and or a psych injury. And they're often very fed up and frustrated with the whole process by the time they come to us, so we cop it. But also we're starting to see, just because of the way the world works, we're starting to get a lot of younger clients now, and I swear to God, I can't do this job forever with the younger workers. I'm not even really, I'm using the word workers very loosely. We're starting to get a lot of the participation ribbon generation coming in. They will not do a fucking thing to help themselves. I had a client last week, I'm not lying, who asked me if I would call in her work and call in sick for her because she doesn't like doing it. I was like, no, sorry, that's not part of the service we provide. Sorry, no, if you want to ring in sick, you ring in sick. Or you get your, I ended up saying, why don't you, because she'd mentioned she had a boyfriend. I'm like, why don't you get your boyfriend to call up for you? And she's like, well, I will actually, because he rang in sick for himself this morning, so he's clearly comfortable doing it. I was like, oh my God, the pair of them. Off they go, probably off to town to spend money on. That was the other thing she was telling me. The financial hardship at the moment is really getting to her. And then about 10 minutes later in our meeting, she said that she was sorry if she was lisping a bit, but she just had her lips done. And I'm like, oh, is that why you're under financial pressure now? Because you had your lips plumped? I don't know if I can represent this younger generation of inverted commas workers because they're anything but. It was insane. I mean, she has got a shitty employer and we are working for her and sorting shit out, but you know. Hey, Emily, you're stuck in Murdochland. What are you thinking? Yeah, stealing off the vulnerable. I know. What's the vibe now? Are people finally? It's not in my job description. Oh, complacency. I know, and you just want to say to them, you need. Well, I do sometimes. I'm like, there's only so much we can, because if we say to them, okay, this is our advice. You'll need to do this, 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 and this. They sit there and they roll your eyes at you, and they're like, can't you do it? And it's like, no, no, no. This is your claim. You need to do these things. Like, we're giving you the advice on what you need to do. And yes, there are some things that we will do to help you, and you're going to help us too. Like, I can't advise you unless you bring your file in so I can read all your paperwork. You will need to scan it and email it to me or photocopy it and drop it in or bring it in here and we'll copy it for you. I don't have the skills to make your file materialize in this office without you helping in some way, shape or form. Fuck's sake. And you feel like saying, you know, we can't help you unless you're going to be part of this team. You know, this isn't a hand over your problems to me and you don't think about it anymore. Like, it's still your case. It's still your claim. You still have to participate in it. Holy fuck. And then in the same breath, they're like, why can't you represent me till the end? I'm like, would you represent you for free for the length of your file that could go for 7 years? I think not. You'd break up with yourself at some point. It's unbelievable. But more and more of these younger folk are starting to call us, and I'm like, this could be, you know, when you start to have clients with names like Shaniqua and Ladasha and Absidy, you're like, I'm too old for this. I don't understand these people. And their ages too. They sit there looking at you like, you old bag. I'm not listening to you, you old bag. It's like, okay. All right, don't take my advice and wisdom of doing this shitty job for years. Like, fine, off you go. You get out there and show everyone I'm wrong. Good luck. His brother just said, so there's a twist. I've been sort of jumping in and listening to a few bits. Like I listened to Marion, Maggie's sister, a bit of hers. I listened to Buster. How weird was Buster? Like it's just like looking at Alec with a very thick head of dark red hair. But his voice, his face, everything, I'm like, oh my God. He's a chip off the old block. Are they on their phones while at work? These younger workers that we're dealing with, I don't know. I'm sure they would be. I mean, we're not. I had this woman ring me at 4:30 on Friday about 4 times and then send me an email going, I tried to call you and you didn't answer your phone. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I was actually at work and I give legal advice to people face to face or on the phone. I don't get to check my phone for like if a family member's message me often during the day. Like at lunchtime while I'm walking to get my lunch, I sometimes have a quick look at my phone. But and 4:30 on a Friday, you reckon that's a good time to call anyone who's at work? What the fuck? Unappealing family. Hey, blank slate, how are you, Gorge? Rude. Francesca, hello. Yeah, I've heard people talking about that. I don't know. I mean, I don't have Netflix for starters anymore. I got rid of it. And I don't know. The more that I've been, I mean, I get why you're all gripped and following it. I do get it. If I had the time to, I would be as well. But the more I hear of them, the less appealing they become. They're kind of like Schitt's Creek. They're like the Rose family at the start, but at least in Schitt's Creek, over time, you fell in love with them all. But with this trial, it's the opposite. The more I hear, the less I'm into them. I'm sort of like, Like, I mean, seriously, that fucker saying, oh, we didn't live a lavish lifestyle and I was earning $1 million a year. Seriously, out of touch with reality are they? Cockheads, the lot of them. Except for Marion, I really liked her. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, Emily. Because he's going to jail, right? For that, for the rest of his life. So, um, but what I wanted to know was, it was interesting. Yeah, I heard that. I heard it didn't paint them in a pretty light, but then neither is the trial, right? They're way out of touch, yes. They're all piggies. Jesus, I don't know about that anniversary, Joey, and I don't have a clue. No idea. I thought it was unsealed. Oh, the probable cause affidavit? Don't know. Enjoyed the movie. The father is truly entitled. You don't like phones at all? Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jamin. And look, my car is now Bluetooth compatible because I invested $30 in a thing called a socket rocket, which I love because I can play my podcast and music through the speakers in my car, and I've got good speakers. But I can take calls on in my car now too, but I don't because I love that my car doesn't allow me to do hands-free calls while I'm driving. I mean, it does now. I can do it. If somebody I adored called me, I'd probably answer it. But I absolutely love not being contactable 24/7. And yeah, I mean, but 4:30 on a Friday, every job I've ever had that's been like office hours, that last half hour on a Friday is a frenzy to get everything done before the weekend and to get the fuck out of there. People should never call you at any time after, I don't think even after 4 on a Friday. We have clients that call us at like 2 minutes to 5 every single day. You reckon we shut at 5? You think we're going to be able to take your call now? Because you can't. There's never, and they always go, oh, it's only going to take 5 minutes. It's like, you're not the lawyer. You don't know how long it's going to take us to advise you on this. And trust me, anyone who ever says to you, I've just got a quick question, or it'll only take 5 minutes, it won't, ever. Never, ever. In the history of question asking, as a question that you've been preempted with, it'll only take 5 minutes. Coming out of the mouth is someone who's requiring your expertise and doesn't understand how detailed advice has to be. Mm. But yeah, if our phones are ringing at 2 to 5, it's like, you are going to voicemail and we will deal with you tomorrow. What's that fabulous saying? Your lack of preparation doesn't warrant an emergency on our behalf. Yep, off you go. We'll chat tomorrow. I'm totally lost now where. Oh, the Pennsylvania. Gotcha. Dunno, Gorge. I'm just waiting for the hearing. All this stuff that's going on in that one. I've still got more defending Dylan to do, but I think I've got to do a bit of defending Brittany as well. Everything is easy for the one that doesn't have to do it themselves. So true. You close your phone down. Well, I don't use my mobile for work. Thank God. But I'm talking to the people that are calling the office line. They don't be getting no attention. We're not dropping everything because they're ringing us at 5 to 5, especially on a Friday. No. Go away. They've had all week to call us. And that's the other thing with patterns at the moment. We're getting we're so fully booked. Like, we're booked 2 weeks in advance now. So if you call us and you've got a hearing tomorrow, sorry, you're at the end of an already long queue and you left it. Like, they get hearing notices, and the hearings are usually 3 weeks away from when they receive the notice. And they call us the day before the hearing and get shitty that we can't help them because we're fully booked. We cop a mouthful. And it's like, yeah, try getting surgery if you've been told you'll need to get surgery in the next 4 weeks and you leave it till the day before the 4 weeks are up. See if you can find a surgeon who's able to drop everything to do your surgery, you fucking dipshit. Like, even I had my car serviced 2 weeks ago, so it doesn't sound like a Mack truck anymore. But the mechanic said to me, oh, you really need to get your front brake pads replaced too. And he said, in the next 4 weeks, definitely don't go past that. And I said, oh, well, let's book it in now for 2 weeks just so I could get paid again, because I just handed over, quite a big chunk of money for them to fix the helicopter noise. I didn't leave it till the last day of the 4 weeks. I was like, let's do it in a couple of weeks. After payday, I'm back. I'll see you then. So Biff goes in tomorrow for new shoes. Little brake pads will be going in. It's called being organised and not putting other people under pressure because you're disorganised. But we cop a mouthful. They're like, but I need help. And it's like, yeah, well, you know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to do what all the people who don't know about our service do. You're going to have to instruct a lawyer, and there's no win, no fee lawyers in the state. You don't have to pay them till the end, but you will at some point, like most people, have to pay for your legal advice. We offer a service. We offer you free legal advice, but you've got to be organised. You can't leave it till the last minute at the moment with us. We are flat out. We're understaffed. We're underfunded. And we've got a waiting list. And we'll put you on it, but it'll be 3 weeks from now that we can help you. I'm not dropping everything to bump all the organised clients I've got in my calendar today out to deal with your shit. They did the right thing. Oh no, someone would want 2-month-old tyres for sure. Yeah, they're hideous people. And they're abusive. Oh, what do you mean you can't book me in for 3 fucking weeks? I've got a hearing tomorrow. Yeah. There's a heap of law firms we can refer you to. They can help you. We'll have to fucking pay for them. Yeah. Yeah, you will. And by the way, fuckface, we're the only service like this in Australia. We are the only free legal service for people with claims like yours. And that's incredible. But you didn't access us when we were able to help you. We can't. Well, surely there's someone there who can help me. No, we are fully booked. In fact, in some instances, we're double booked. So, no, there isn't surely somebody who can help you. We're struggling to help the people that were organised. Yeah, I reckon you'll be able to flick those tyres. Oh, she has to wait. She'll soldier on. I mean, one thing that my mechanic does, which is awesome, is like when I was making the helicopter noise, um, because I had work and stuff going on, I just rang them up to book Biff in to get the issue addressed. But I sort of said, it's not dangerous for me to keep driving him at the moment, is it? And they're like, we'll just bring him down and we'll have a look and let you know. And so they look and they're like, no, it's fine. It's a bearing, but it won't be a problem. It's just going to be really loud till you get it sorted. But if it had have been something potentially catastrophic, they would have said to me, you can't drive him, but we've got loan cars that you can have, or here's the bus timetable, like they actually did a little check just to make sure that he wasn't going to blow up on the side of the road somewhere. And I really respect them for that. That's customer service, Yeah, but you've got great public transport where you are, Francesca. You should see the bus timetable to get in and out of where I live. Holy shit. Fabulous if you're just going to town to see a concert or catch up with people for dinner and you want to have a few vinos. Very, very loose timetable that works incredibly well if you're literally just using it for social reasons. For work, not so good. Getting into work, the bus that goes past my place is awesome for getting me into town at a good time before work. Like I'm not going to have to do run 20 blocks to get to the office in 5 minutes sort of thing. But the problem is the bus that I can meet or catch after work, because the first one leaves at 5:05 and it's 20 blocks from here, so I won't get there in time. But the next bus that comes, I don't get home till after 7. And most people down my way drive because car parking and catching the bus costs the same, but at least if you drive, you can be home by 6. Things are not made to last forever. They're not. Cars have lifespans of maybe 10 to 15 years. My car is a 2009. And admittedly, in the last 3 years, I've had to replace big things, like, the full clutch kit. Actually, that's the only big thing. This little car will keep going for another 20 years. The little Suzuki Swifts are little toughies. And they're very economical too. They're cheap to run and they're cheap to service because Suzuki use the same parts in every model of car that they make. Yeah, the electronics are what fuck up cars. This has such basic electronics. Like, honestly, like I said, I had to buy a socket rocket to make my car Bluetooth enabled. It's brilliant, though. Just plug it into where the cigarette lighter used to plug in, and the whole car's Bluetooth compatible now. It's brilliant. Socket rocket. It's one of those little startup ideas, and it's bloody brilliant. Now, I can't find my tinted lip balm. God damn it. I love how we were chatting about, I thought we'd be chatting about the possibly inappropriately named vultures of YouTube, and we're talking about our cars. That's what I love about this community. We just go with the flow. I do feel better venting about the highly entitled and needy clients we have at the moment, though. Holy fuck. I'm putting vibes out there, Jamin, that my car lives for 1,000 years. And if I ever do replace or upgrade this one, I'm getting another Swift because they're just the bomb. My sister had one for a little while. She got one because I kept saying to her, get a Swift, they're the best. And then she they're now sort of living in they're way more rural and rugged coastline than where I am. And she needed to get a bigger car, which is, warranted. I feel much better knowing she's in a bigger car because she has a longer drive on bigger highways and stuff than I do. But she misses her Swifty. I mean, this is a 2009, and I've only got 115,000 kilometres on it. In Australia, most cars do 25,000 Ks a year. So to only have 100,000, 115,000 in a 14-year-old car, that's pretty awesome. But I had a lot of jobs that had work cars provided, and I lived overseas, so Biff was in a garage for a year in storage, but yeah, very, very low Ks. Riveting though. But yeah, so how much longer till the Murdoch trial wraps up? And is everyone leaning towards guilty as sin now, or are people still thinking a reasonable doubt might be planted in one of the jurors' brains? Because that's sort of where I'm sitting at the moment. I'm not convinced. And I think the prosecutors have done I haven't followed it religiously, but the little bits that I've been able to listen to, I think the prosecutors have made some errors along the way. But yeah, what do you guys think about it, those of you who are following it? Is there a reasonable doubt forming in some of the jurors' minds? Or oh, they're going out to Moselle. You're still on the fence. Yeah, okay. I'm moving on from the cars, Joman. I'm going to wrap this up anyway. I've got to get into that office and begin my day of torture. Yeah, that's sort of how I'm feeling. I think he did it too. And I think he did it to look like somebody. I think he did it deliberately to. You're slow. No, you're actually pretty on the ball. You don't think most people will see reasonable doubt? Yeah, this is why it's such an interesting trial, isn't it? Get off the fence, lady. No, I'm not on the fence. I'm with Emily. I think he did it, but I don't think they've proven it. I think they've possibly created reasonable doubt. A hung jury. Yeah, I'm with Emily 100%. That's not being on the fence. We have a very firm view. I'm not teetering between innocent and guilty. I think he's guilty as fuck. And I think he did it to make it look like somebody else did it. The crime scene thinks there were two people. But see, that's the thing. I reckon he used two guns to make it look like there were two people. But I haven't followed it enough to be really, I'm probably not offering much because you guys are clearly way more into it and have followed it. And see, this great psychologist, he convinced you. Just the little snippets of it that I've listened to. Oh, that woman, oh my God, the fence rider. She's going to keep popping into my head throughout the day now, Francesca. Oh my God. I was be like, ride that fence, lady. Ride the fence. Yeah, that's the trial we're chatting about. You know the name. It's gripping. And it's hideous. Just this family of absolute privilege and wealth just thinking they lived humbly. Oh, yes. And yeah, he's just got bad bad juju. But, you know, he confidently took the stand and, you know, that's one of the things as a criminal defense lawyer I would be like, yeah, no, don't. Um, but, you know, that disconnect between them, their world, and the jury. So things like, you know, that they had a modest lifestyle when he's earning $1 million a year and stealing millions more from vulnerable people who'd been through horrific things to actually be compensated, and he just took it off them. Even though the jury will be directed over and over again about it's all about the evidence, like nothing like creating a disconnect with your jury. Really important when you're a criminal defense lawyer to have the jury on side, because as much as they're told about the rules of evidence and everything else, it really doesn't help when you've got a defendant who's cocky and out of touch with the real world. And yeah, it's been an interesting one for sure. But anywho, my groovers, he is very calculated. Francesca's listing all of the batshitties. The cheating rector, that was so funny. Guys, I love yous. Speaking of batshit, we're back tomorrow night with that. And I may even go live tomorrow during the day because I've got that woman who was ringing me at 4:30 religiously the other day on Friday. I've got a meeting with her at 10, and after that, I'm free as a bird till I have to go and get my car. So I shall see you all tomorrow. But take care, everyone, and just remember, don't get struck by a smooth criminal. See you all very soon. Goodbye.